I hope you've tried building these hands on your own, but now we just wanted to show you what we would do if we were building them. So in this first hand, which we showed you, 55666, 7777, 888, and 99 is what it looks like on the card. Just those little numbers right there. Then what I've done is I have used dots to build this. As we say, when you see numbers on your card, that means it must be one of the tiles from the suit. So I just picked dots for this one. I have 2 5 dots at the start, then 3 6 dots, 4 7 dots, 3 8 dots, and 2 9 dots. So that's all there is to building that hand. I could do it with any suit, and since we have some 3s of a kind and 6s, 7s, we got 4 of a kind, and 8s, we've got 3 of a kind. We can use jokers in any of those sets. We just can't use them for the 9s or the 5s. So that's our first hand. Again, you could use any suit. This could have been built with cracks or BAMs instead of dots, but we have no choice about the numbers in this hand. Here's our first version of the second consecutive run hand I have in my little sample card. As you can see on that card, it has got 3 1s in green and 3 2s in green, 4 3s in red and 4 4s in red, and afterwards it says any 2 suits, any 4 consecutive numbers. If you built this hand, you might have built it looking something like this. It has to have 2 suits because they are green and red numbers, and again, numbers means it has to be one of our suit tiles from one of the suits. So I used 3 1 cracks, 3 2 cracks, 4 3 BAMs, and 4 4 BAMs. Again, the numbers do not reflect the suit you must use, just that it is, in this case, 2 different suits because they're 2 different colors. So that's the simplest way to build this hand. As we say, it's any 2 suits and any 4 consecutive numbers. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, you can use another set, and we're going to show you one of those right now. Here's another version of our second consecutive number hand on my little imaginary card there. So in this case, what we did is we used 3 5 BAMs, 3 6 BAMs, then 4 7 dots, and 4 8 dots. And as before, we just had to have 2 different suits for our 3s of a kind and 4s of a kind. And in this case, I used BAMs and dots. You can also see, since I didn't have all of the tiles I needed, I used jokers in place of some of them. Again, the beauty of this hand is you can use jokers in any of the sets since there are no singles or pairs in the hand. We had just 1 2 4 6 8 sample hand, and here, just as you could see on your sheet, it has 4 green 2s, 3 red 4s, 4 green 6s, and 3 red Ds. And afterwards it says Pung and Dragon match. Pung being the 3 of a kind, so my dragons must match my 4s. When we built this hand, as you see here, we used 2 cracks for the first set of numbers, 4 dots for the second set, and our 6 cracks matching our 2 cracks for the third set of numbers. And then for our dragons, we used the soaps because they had to match our dots in the middle set. So that is the way we built this hand. You may have built one that looks very similar to this. And just as we've noticed in some of our other hands, when you have all the sets that are 3 or more of a kind, you can use jokers anywhere in this. You can see in this imaginary hand on the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 grouping that I have built a hand that has 4 1s and 3 3s in green and 3 5s and 4 7s in red, followed by the words any two suits. So if you were building that hand, you might build it like I did here. I used BAMs for the first 2 sets of numbers, the 1s and the 3s. I used dots for the second 2 numbers, the 5s and the 7s. I've got no choice about what numbers to use, but I could use any 2 suits. I could have used cracks for the first 2 sets and BAMs for the second 2 sets, or dots for the first 2 sets. So there's a lot of options in this hand. Again, as in the case of the ones we have looked at just before, these are all sets of 3 or 4. So I could use jokers anywhere in this set of tiles. Here's my imaginary 3, 6, 9 hand. And on the card you would see it said 2 Fs, 4 green 3s, 4 red 6s, and 4 black 9s. So I've got to use the 3s, the 6s, and the 9s because there are 3 colors, green, red, and black. I've got to use all 3 suits. And of course I've got a pair of Fs for flowers right at the start. Remember, you ignore these numbers and letters on the flower tiles. As you can see, I built this hand using 4 3 cracks, 4 6 dots, and 4 9 BAMs. But since I was missing several of the tiles, but I was really lucky and drew some jokers or exchanged for them, I have 4 jokers filling in the blanks. So it makes it a lot easier to get the hand if you don't have to get every exact tile. The one place I could not use my jokers in this hand, the 2 flower tiles had to be natural. So that's just an example of how you might build this hand. I had this one sample imaginary hand with lots of winds in it. So on the card it shows 3 N's, 2 E's, 2 W's, 3 S's, and 4 D's. No numbers, so I'm not going to use any number tiles from my suits. They are just the 3 N's for the north winds, 2 E's for the east winds, 2 W's for west winds, and 3 S's for south winds, and then finally my dragons. On the card it says any dragon, which means I don't have to use green dragons here. I could have used my soaps or my red dragons. It's one real piece of flexibility in this hand. It gives you some options. So if you started collecting tiles and you had one red and one green, you'd probably hold on to both of them and see if you got a second one in them. Again, in this hand there are several places where you can use your jokers. You can use them for the N's, for the north winds, for the south winds, or for the dragons. But you do have to have natural east and west winds. So again, that's a way that this hand might look if you pulled it out and built it yourself.